Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee with Craig. Appreciate you guys tuning in on this Independence Day. You know, I didn't want to take you guys away from whatever it is that you were planning on doing too much today, but I did want to talk with you a little bit about kind of my thoughts. Just share with you a few of my thoughts regarding the 4th of July and Independence Day, and really what it means to me and the work that I do here. You know, when I go back and I read the Declaration of Independence, it reminds me of a time in which a people who were being governed by a government or by leadership, whatever you want to call them, had finally come to recognize that the number of fundamental human rights, the fundamental rights that were due any person, were simply being ignored and violated by those who were governing them. And the Declaration of Independence, as you go through and you read it, starts off really, first of all, as a statement of the fact that there are some fundamental rights. It talks about how those rights are inalienable, and that among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But it makes it a point to say that these rights are not something that government can give or take away. It talks about how governments, it talks about how to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers or their consent from the just consent of the governed. You know, you and I are the governed. And then throughout the Declaration of Independence, it goes on to point out issue after issue, transgression after transgression that the government of England had perpetrated upon the people of the New World, and how they had just come to the point where they knew and they understood that they had not just a right but a responsibility to stand up to that government, if not for themselves, if not to secure their own rights, but to secure the rights for those that come after them, or as the Declaration of Independence refers to them as their posterity. And I think about, as they look at each and every one of those transgressions, and they finally just come to the point where they say, enough is enough. And the time has come for us to stand up and throw off the chains of this oppressive government. And that's kind of where we are right now, at least in states like California, New York, New Jersey, and more as we're starting to see in other states where some very, very fundamental rights are being taken away and replaced with rights that are not rights. They're simply wants. There's someone's wish list of things that, well, hey, this is what we think should be a right, but don't really meet the fundamental definitions of life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, the fundamental human right of being able to defend oneself, the ability to be able to prosper from one's own hand, to have the work and the ingenuity that one puts into life to be able to come back to them and will be rewarded for the work and the ingenuity that they put in. Instead, it's being replaced with this concept of, well, you know, I have a right to feel free, or I have a right to feel safe, so that you will feel safe even if you aren't safe. So that I have a right to stuff that I didn't earn. So that I have a right against being offended. Those are not rights. They're just not. And the thing is, and the reason why this work in particular, the work that I do here at the Farms Policy Coalition is so important and so near and dear to me when it comes to this issue is that when I think about the fundamental rights that we have, as enumerated first and foremost in our Constitution, and in particular in the Bill of Rights, it denotes those fundamental rights that are largely, you know, controls on government. Things in which the government cannot take away. I mean, read through those Bill of Rights. It lays out exactly what government can and cannot do. And anything else that they want to be able to do, well, guess what? You have to amend the Constitution in order to be able to do that. But I think that looking back on it now, looking back on Independence Day, it's a time for each and every one of us to make a decision. Are we going to live free? Or are we going to continue to allow our fundamental human rights to be chipped away? At what point do we cease living up to the credo that is put forth, the standard that's put forth there in that Declaration of Independence? At what point do we stand up and say, enough is enough? We have the ability for nonviolent revolution every few years. It's called an election. And we have to ask ourselves, how fully engaged are we in this revolution? I am tired of going and standing before men and women who do not believe in liberty, who do not believe in freedom, who do not believe in individual rights and individual responsibility, and ask them to respect these things. Ask them to pass policies and implement laws that show respect for those very basic concepts. I know that until we change those who are the governed, those who are doing the governing, then we are going to have a difficult time. Until that changes, we're going to have a very difficult time changing the laws that are being put in place. And that means stepping outside of our comfort zone. As I'm sure that during the Revolutionary War, I'm sure that many people had to step outside of their comfort zone, because some of the people with which they were fighting were their neighbors. They were the people who lived right next to them, who were okay, who were comfortable, who didn't mind those transgressions, those violations of their fundamental human rights, if it meant that they didn't have to deal with conflict. But we have to be willing to step outside of our comfort zones. We have to be willing to say, are we going to be fully engaged in this process? Are we going to be fully engaged in the electoral process? Look, November, there's going to be another election. And many things are going to be decided in that election. First and foremost is going to be who is going to be making those decisions. The way in which you change decisions is by changing those who make those decisions. By putting in place people who value the things that you value. And if you have that where you are, then that's fantastic. But guess what? That's not enough. Because politics, like war, is about taking ground. And if you have not taken if you've taken the ground where you stand, then that's not enough. Because that's all the ground you ever will take. That is as far as you will ever go in this fight. Let me ask you this question. Do you think you've gone far enough? Do you think you're winning enough? Do you think you are in a place where your rights and your liberties are secure? If not, then you need to be looking for the next battleground. To the north, to the south, to the east and the west. Where is the place where you can be engaged in the fight for independence? Because it's not just their independence that is at stake here. It is also yours. Because rest assured, just like in war, in politics, the other side is not resting on their laurels. They're not sitting back and waiting. They're not waiting for you to come after them. They're going to come after you. And if they are not on the defense, they will most assuredly be on the offense. If they feel that they have fully and completely conquered California, Oregon, Washington, New York, New Jersey, Hawaii, if they feel that they have fully conquered those states with their anti-liberty, anti-Second Amendment, anti-rights agenda, then they will come after you. They will come after Texas. They will come after Arizona. They will come after Ohio. They will come after Florida. They will come after Tennessee. They will come after every state until they have won. And because that's their mentality. They are fully funded. They are committed to the long haul. And they are organized. And they are ready to fight. My question is, like those who signed their names to the Declaration of Independence, are you ready to fight? Are you really to fully commit to what it takes to be free? And I know you get tired of, it seems like every week we're asking you to do something new. Every month we're asking you to do something new. Every year there's a new, different attack. But every generation is responsible for fighting for their liberty, for the next generation. So the war doesn't stop with us. The fight doesn't stop here. It didn't begin here, and it won't end here. The next generation will have to fight just as we have to fight. The main thing that we have to make sure that we do not do is that we don't drop the ball, that we don't drop the flag, that we don't let the stars and stripes, those colors, fall during our time. We need to be able to pass along the baton to the next generation, knowing that we did all we could do, that we fought the good fight, and we hand them a legacy of fighting the good fight. That's what Independence Day means to me. That's what Independence Day means to the Firearms Policy Coalition. It's not just about what happened, 200 plus years ago. It's about what happened a generation ago. It's about what's happening now and what will happen in the generation to come. That's what independence is about. That's what we celebrate every 4th of July. Is not just the rights of freedom, but the responsibility of freedom. Because I always say civil rights is not just this idea of these special rights for special people, as some folks would have us believe. But it's really about the rights that are available to all of us as citizens of these United States. That's what civil rights are. And the thing about civil rights is this: if you do not use them, then you are doomed to lose them. Anyway, folks, once again, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of the fight for our civil rights. Please enjoy this Independence Day. Have fun, stay safe, stay free. Talk to you again tomorrow.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.